So Kriti, can you tell me what exactly it is that you do as a data scientist? I often get asked this question and it's a totally valid one. I mean, this is what networking encompasses too, right? You'd like to understand what a day in the life of your target profession looks like to assess fit, especially in the field of big data, when there are 1,000 contradicting definitions online about what a data science professional or a data analyst or a data strategist does. It's true that in the data science generalist part, job roles aren't usually standardized. Job responsibilities of a data analyst and a data scientist tend to overlap more often than not. But as the industry evolves, I'm sure these definitions will become more streamlined and things will start to look a lot more clear. For example, if someone says they're an accountant or a software developer, you have an idea about what exactly it is that they do. But if someone says they're a data analyst, a BI analyst, a data strategist, or a data scientist, or an ML specialist, the definition gets a lot more clear. That's why today I'm here to talk about what being a data practitioner has looked like in my profession so far, both as a data analyst and a data scientist. If you enjoy this type of content, do make sure to show your support by liking this video, share it with someone who you think might find it useful, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, I must say that I'm going to use a totally made up hypothetical scenario to explain this in a way to closely mirror but at the same time simplify what happens in the real world. So with that, let's get started. It all starts with an ask. Let's say I work for a beverage company and the company is looking to launch a new product, a line of sugar-free beers. Most of this decision-making control lies with the leadership team. They're always on top of the latest industry and market trends. Their job basically requires them to come up with new ideas and find new ways to improve existing operation to help the company stay ahead of the competition. So with that in mind, let's say the leadership team has recently learned that traditional beer sales are declining, and it's come to light that it's because people are increasingly becoming health conscious and wary of the number of calories they're consuming. There are already some competitors in the market catering to such customers, but not that many as yet. And so our company needs to act fast to acquire this new and emerging market and cater to their needs. The first and perhaps the most intuitive way for the company to start is by identifying who among their existing customer base may be interested in this new calorie-friendly, sugar-free beer. And essentially the ask or the business objective boils down to this question. We'd like to know who among our customers would be interested in this sugar-free beer. So once we have the context of the business problem, it cascades down through the hierarchy. The idea is deliberated with other leadership teams and they come up with a strategy or a plan to target the appropriate customer base and launch this new product. There are various stakeholders involved in the process and an interaction model may be set up just to kind of describe how these different teams will work together to ensure the success of the launch. And a product lead, a marketing lead, an analytics lead, and an IT lead may be assigned to this. Now, none of this decision making would be possible without data. And there comes this whole point about the business being data driven. So if you didn't already know which customers to go after first, and if you didn't have the data, how would you ensure the success of the launch? So this decision needs to be backed by data. You need to know your target demographic. Things like their age, where they're located, what their behavior is like, and so on. And we need this information so we can optimize our efforts to target the right customer. Drum roll, enter analytics. So an intake is submitted to engage the analytics team for this project. The analytics lead prioritizes and then hands it down to their technically skilled team, people like me and maybe yourself. And after this, the team spends time understanding the objective of the business by conversing with the different stakeholders involved. The analytics team then puts together a proposal or an analytics roadmap describing what analytics team can do to support this decision and then present it back to the various stakeholders involved. Here's where presentation, stakeholder management, and your interpersonal skills come into play. So while presenting the proposal, a core task is to communicate the outcome of your data discovery. What data do we have? Is there additional data that needs to be collected? What data is relevant to the project? At the end, what's possible and what isn't? When we talk about data discovery and knowing what to look for where, this is something that comes with experience. The more time you spend at the company, the more you know about their data assets and where you can find the information that is required for the project. Now, we might not have all the data we need to do this project at first. For example, let's say the data about customer lifestyle preferences is missing, and a new process may be implemented to collect this type of data. For example, conducting a survey or just interviewing the customers. Sometimes a project may even be put on hold when the data that's necessary or crucial for the project is not available till it becomes available. Alternatively, what we can do is we can also make certain decisions on the scope of the project and say, here's what we can do with the first iteration with the data that we have right now. And once the other data is available, we'll incorporate that into the solution. So after you've kind of outlined all these scenarios, you need to get agreement on the approach that analytics has decided to take. Now, let's assume we have all the data we need, and no additional data collection process is required. Here begins the interesting work with SQL, Python, R, Spark, and all the hot trending topics out there. So we start with the exploratory data analysis, combine data from different sources, check its formatting, check the consistency of values, identify outliers, anomalies, clean it up, process it, and then extract insights using data visualization. So at this point, we should be able to provide more information about our customer than we had in the beginning. For example, let's say data reveals that the interest in calorie-friendly and sugar-free beer is more pronounced among females of the age group 25 to 34. And incidentally, they tend to be super active on social media. That's interesting. So presenting information like this would predominantly be the task of a data analyst or a business insights analyst. But the data scientist may also be assigned to the task of supporting the end-to-end implementation of this analytic solution. So once we've identified some actionable insights from the data, we present it back to the leadership team or the various stakeholders involved and kind of get direction from them on the next steps. So at this point, you must remember to keep only the insights that are relevant to the project at hand. You must also learn to tailor your communication differently to technical as well as non-technical audiences. Using this information that you've just provided, the marketing and strategy team may come up with a plan to target this demographic using social media advertising. So at this point, as an analyst, your insights have helped in moving the needle on the campaign, because without those insights, they'd kind of be shooting in the dark. Here's where your work adds value to the business, but it doesn't just end there. You also need analytics to track how the launch of the campaign is going. Luckily, most online campaigns are measurable, and it could be measured using reporting suites like Adobe Analytics and Google Analytics, or data could also be stored on the cloud or on-prem, which you can query to generate reports and metrics, increase in the revenue, the number of units sold, and all of this would primarily be the task of a business intelligence or reporting analyst. So let's say the campaign targeting women aged 25 to 34 online was a success and the revenue target was met. However, there lies an opportunity to further reduce marketing spend if you understand which social media channels or online stores this target demographic is interacting with. And then there comes a request to put together a solution to help understand customer touch points so the company can meet the customer at the right place at the right time with their product. And here comes the opportunity to implement an advanced analytic solution, also known as data science heavy work, which involves like prediction, forecasting, probability, and so on. For this example, we can build something like an attribution model, which essentially assigns probabilities to customer touchpoints to see what is their next course of action. But keep in mind that most times, for most business purposes, it may be enough to have insights and post-campaign tracking enabled. Predictive modeling and forecasting is useful when you're scaling the solution up for years to come. If an entirely different line of product is launched tomorrow, you will need to build a different solution. Also, you need to keep in mind that when you are starting work on an advanced solution, you need to be able to measure and present its benefits, the revenue you can expect by implementing the solution, and essentially like what is the outcome of doing this, and what the success looks like. So once your model is approved to go in production, that's a whole other ballgame. Usually there is a team of dedicated data engineers and DevOps or model ops engineers to help you deploy and scale the solution, let's say on the cloud, which provides a lot of computational resources for big data. And as you can tell, from the inception of the idea to model deployment is a very long drawn out process. Takes a minimum of 6 months and can go on for a year or more. Meanwhile, you will get to work on other projects in parallel. It's a lot of fun. It also tests a range of skills. Of course, you'll be using your tech skills to do all the EDA, data wrangling, reporting, and model building. But there's this other component of soft skills and interpersonal skills you need to keep in mind, because your solution is only as good as you make it to be. So you need to learn to communicate with technical as well as non-technical stakeholders. So with that, let's wrap up this video. If you enjoyed it and got insight into what the world of data analytics and data science looks like, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have suggestions for any other type of videos that you'd like to see, feel free to mention it in the comments below. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.